everyone, and welcome back here to Gatekeeper Media as we bring you the conclusion of the 2022 OTB Open out at Swenson Park in Stockton, California. We're going to have some more chase card coverage here for you, and once again, we'd like to thank all of you for tuning in and give a huge thank you to our Patreon supporters who helped make all of this coverage possible. Once again, I am Dustin Mouret, and I'll be bringing you the solo commentary as we wrap up this event. And we have a great card for you here. As you can see, all of our players right near a top 5 position, with Aaron Gossage in a tie for 4th place. We got Austin Hannum, Gannon Buhr, and Mason Ford right there as well. To take a look at the leaderboard here, you see Simon Lizotte and Anthony Barella topping the charts, with Calvin Heimberg and Drew Gibson just behind. And as you can see, our chase card is only really a few strokes away from contention for that podium. Take a look at the bags of our players. Aaron Gossage, of course, throwing for Discraft, really known for the zones, the Raptors, and as well as the Force and Nuke. I saw this guy in person at the Open in Tallahassee when I was caddying for Cameron Coldglazer there, and he was on our card, and that guy absolutely rips both backhand and forehand, so I couldn't see a lot of distance out of him. Take a look at Austin Hannum here, throwing for Prodigy. A lot of D-Series disc, of course, also throws the FX2 quite a lot. And definitely a guy who also has a really powerful forehand and just an all-around solid player. Then we got Gannon Buhr coming in here, putts to PA3, like to throw that distortion for approaches. Also known for a lot of those D-Series discs like the D1 and D2, as well as maybe some work with the foul core. Definitely another very powerful thrower on the card. Then we got Mason Ford here now with DD, putts the EMAC Judge, likes to throw a lot of getaways, but also known for those enforcers, defenders, and may see a ride or something like that out of him as well. Also known for that felon. And now we're going to kick things off here at hole 1, an 842-foot par 4. Really just need to make sure you get left so you don't get cut off by this bush line that you see on the right-hand side. And then you just have kind of a low ceiling approach to get to what is a pretty guarded green.
First on the tee box, from Grand Junction, Colorado, Aaron Gossage.
All right, Aaron. And Aaron Gossage comes into this ranked within the top 25 in the UDisc World Rankings. Really only his 2nd year on tour as well, so already doing quite well despite being early on in his career. Had some podium finishes this year at DDO, the Memorial Championship, and the 303 Open. Also placed 5th at Waco and 10th at the Music City Open. So definitely already building up quite the resume this year. And again, a guy that definitely just has a lot of power. Just needs it to skip away from that bush line, and looks like it should be open enough look.
Next up, from Perry, Oklahoma, Austin Hannum.
And Austin Hannum is fresh off a 7th place finish at Masters Cup. Also placed 30th at our first major of the year at Champions Cup. Had a couple of big finishes on tour last year as well. 6th at Portland Open, 15th at Des Moines Challenge, top 30 at Worlds. Looks like that got left enough as well to give him a little bit of a look.
From Urbandale, Iowa, Gannon Buhr.
A man who really needs no introduction at this point. Ranked 7th in the UDisc World Rankings. Fresh off a win at Masters Cup, getting him a big tour victory early on in his career. Several other top 10 finishes this year, including 10th at DDO, 5th at Jonesboro, a 5th at the major at Champions Cup, and of course 2nd at the Las Vegas Challenge to open the year. He's also our Rookie of the Year from 2021. And a great looking shot there from Gannon Buhr. Gets a nice flare out into the open for a great look at the pin.
And completing this card, from Universal City, Texas, Mason Ford.
And Mason Ford ranked 20th in the UDisc World Rankings. Placed top 15 at Jonesboro, Champions Cup, and Waco this year with his new sponsor. Of course, he really jumped on the map with that big win last year at the National Tour finale at the Music City Open. Just a really smooth player. be a little tricky with that wide tree there right in front of his line. Not sure what look he'll have. Again, you really want to be as left as possible off the tee, otherwise you're a little bit pinched off. You can kind of see that here with Austin Hannum having to throw a big flex forehand. Gets up near circle 2. But yeah, this is the danger of just not getting over to that left-hand side off the tee. Makes the approach very difficult. Now Gannon has a bit of a look at it, and this looks great. Oh, kind of catches one of those low branches. Looked like that was destined to be close to the pin with that skip it was getting, but he's got to work a little bit harder for it. Here's Mason Ford. Yeah, a bit cut off. Trying to swing a wide hyzer forehand in. I know the forehand's something he really worked on this offseason. Good line, but just not quite there. And Gossage also pinched off, but I believe he has the power in his forehand to get there as long as he has the right line. Oh, yeah. Like I said, this man rips. Backhand or forehand doesn't matter. He has so much distance. Definitely got to keep an eye out on as his career develops. Nice little up shot there to set up for par for Mason Ford. And not really much of a look there for Austin Hannum. Just has to kind of jump putt, approach one up there to make sure he gets his par. Here's Gannon, who just got an unfortunate break. Almost still figures it out there, catches some chains, but we'll have to settle for the par. Here's Gossage, though, with a great look at birdie. And he's able to sink it. I know that he had a couple of low putts in round 2 that weren't quite making it over the rim, and it was kind of causing him some issues scoring, but he sort of adjusted towards the end of that round and started getting things going, and great to see him open up with a birdie here in our final round. So the rest of the card just looks to clean up some pars, maintain position on the leaderboard. As today was a bit windier than the second day, but still not quite as windy as the opening day, so definitely a factor on some of these holes for the card. Now we get to hole 2, a 399-foot par 3. Pretty much a dealer's choice of how you want to attack this pin. Definitely options for either the forehand or the backhand, though the wide backhand seems to be the most popular option for the right-handed player. Usually you take one of these early gaps out to the right, swing it wide, and just try to spike it in. Usually over the stump. That's way too wide, though, from Aaron Gossage. You really want to be near that tree stump you saw kind of towards the center of the screen, just left of that Zuka barrel, I guess it is. Obligatory good stop there from Austin Hannum. Never a bad stop in disc golf. And that looks like a better line. Right over the tree stump. Gets some good skips as well. Gets right up there for a birdie putt. Well done. Good looking line there as well from Gannon Buhr. As long as it gets the right ground action, should be fine. Yeah, skates on up there towards circle 1. Should be right there inside. Not sure if that tree will block him. As obligatory is a hard word to say. I've just noticed that. Obligatory. I struggle with that one. Sorry about that. I'm sure I'll hear something about that in the comments. Y'all keep me on my toes, that's for sure. See if Mason Ford can deliver. And that looks a little wide. And gets caught up. Lots of low ceilings on this course that you really have to navigate under. Kind of one of the consistent themes. Even that approach shot left a little bit more to be desired there from Mason Ford. He's going to have to work for that par. Just kind of a soft run there from Aaron Gossage, making sure he gets up there for his par. Gave it a slight chance. Nothing wrong with that. Mason Ford trying to give that a little bit of something, but just out of position. Well, that's to settle for bogey, unfortunately. So we get to Austin Hannum. Just a little low. Had a good look off the tee there, but just low. And here's Gannon Buhr. Just a little high. Catches the change just below the top band and gets bounced out. Always something you have to consider in windier conditions. Gosh, is able to get it just over the top of the basket there. Again, a little bit low. Something that he's had some struggles with, but that one gets the job done. So a lot of par cleanups here, but it's going to be a bogey for Mason Ford. Head over to hole 3, the behemoth par 5. Just want to try to get out into the open to the right-hand side of the fairway as our drone flies over here. It's a good landing zone off the tee. Try to set yourself up for your approach shots and try to give yourself a chance here to get a birdie on a just under 1,200 foot par 5. Just definitely been a monstrous hole. You will sometimes see players go for the roller if they want to get a little bit aggressive on either their first or second shot. Try to cover some ground. And this is a much wider route than you're usually going to see players take. But Gossage certainly has the power to still get it well down the fairway, taking that line, and gets himself out to the open. A couple of OB bunkers you have to consider on this hole as well once you kind of get up there. And this is kind of more the traditional line, though it's a little bit higher than you'd like, and yeah, that gets caught up. But yeah, turnover shot like that, a little lower, is really the ideal play. Yeah, and this looks good from Gannon Buhr as long as it misses that tree. It's a little more left than he'd like to be. It's a bit more congested over there, but he could probably still make something happen, so not too shabby. Just a nice, smooth shot for Mason Ford. Definitely some of the smoothest backhand form you'll see. Unfortunately, he's going to get a little bit caught up there. So he's going to have some struggles here. Speaking of struggles, Austin Hannum still has a lot of ground to cover here. But also, you know, known to have a pretty powerful forehand, so definitely can get it done. Maybe not as much angle on that as he'd like to push it as far forward as he was hoping for, but making some progress, chipping away at it. Mason Ford finds his way out of there. One of the better second shots you could really hope for, given his position. This is the look that Gannon Buhr has. See what he wants to do. Looking for a roller, it looks like, which again is something that you will see players go for on their tee shot or their second shot. Covers some decent ground over there. Still kind of on that left-hand side of the fairway near that OB fence, but there are some options over there. Big roller here for Aaron Gossage, who had a great tee shot. I think he'll be pretty happy with that. Should be able to have a look at getting up and down for birdie from there. Austin Hannum having to go high and wide on a backhand here, trying to cut in towards the green. I am not even sure where that ended up. As again, this course was a total redesign from the OTB Open last year, so definitely a much different looking course for the vast majority of the layout than what the players faced last year and what we got to watch. It's one of those holes that I feel like you really have to be there to understand it.
Flip.
Unfortunately, that one gets caught up there. Well outside circle 2. This is Aaron Gossage. This is the man who still has a good shot at scoring on this hole right now. He's played the hole well up until this point. See if he can finish it off. Yeah, that'll do. I think he'll be pretty happy with that. I don't know. You know, a nice little drop-in birdie. It's just such good execution from Gossage on this hole, through and through. Nice upshot there from Hannum. Help him kind of stop the bleeding. Gannon Buhr's had some struggles on this hole, looking to try to see if he can at least wrap this thing up without any more trouble. As this hole feels a lot like a marathon in disc golf terms, as that'll put him in good position to putt. And it looks like Basin 4 wants to give this at least a soft run. Yeah, catches the top of the basket. Let's see how our card can dot the i's and cross the t's on this one. Gannon Buhr at least walks away with the par. Not too shabby. As it did play as the third most difficult hole on the day. Played .35 strokes over par. Only 9% of the field found birdies. Mason will join the par club as about half the field found the par, 35% bogey or worse. So definitely a tough distribution. Hannum 2 escapes with the par, which is pretty solid considering his tee shot. Definitely left him with a lot of work to do. Aaron Gossage will find the birdie, a rare one. We'll be back after a break.
I'm Garrett Girthy. People know me as Double G. I've been making Double G craft jerky since I was 16 years old.
I'm always a snacker, so about halfway through, I always find myself reaching for that bag of Double G jerky.
My favorite has got to be the garlic lover's dream. You just can't go wrong with garlic and beef jerky.
That middle of the round, you get into that slump. I'm going to reach for that Double G craft jerky to help me finish strong.
So most of you can't throw like Double G, but if you get his craft jerky, you can certainly eat like him. Go out and get some Double G craft jerky.
You can find Double G craft jerky at doublegjerky.com.
Now let's get back to it. We're at hole 4, a 831-foot par 4. Again, a couple different options off the tee like many of the holes here at this course. It's kind of dealer's choice on whether you're forehand or backhand dominant. Definitely all the options are out there for you. But pretty straightforward hole. Not really any OB or Mandos to really worry about. There is one OB bunker way out left, but really doesn't come into play. You know, we see a lot of players kind of taking this Sky Annie shot out over the top here, like you're seeing Aaron Gossage do. Yeah, and that thing is zooming. There is that tree line you kind of see right there on your screen. You kind of want to be left of that, otherwise you either have to play over the top or kind of play through some low gaps. So that's really the one challenge on this hole. So you are going to see the big roller here from Austin Hannum. And that's got some wheels on it. Gets on down there nicely. Looks like Gannon Buhr is eyeing up that big Anheuser play as well. Gets a great angle on it. Yeah, that's looking really good.
Where'd he go?
Yeah, it gets away from that tree line as well. He's going to have a great look at the pin for the approach. Can't really draw it up much better than that.
It's still flying.
Looks like Mason Ford's eyeing up the same route.
Oh, be nice to me.
That's coming out a little bit earlier than he'd hoped for. Kind of stalling out, but still out in the open. Has more ground to cover than the rest of the car, but still has something to work with. Basically throwing a similar shot here with the big Anheuser play. Kind of fizzles out there over near circle 2. Gonna be a tough one from over there. Big forehand here from Austin Hannum. And that is a fantastic shot right up near the bullseye. Gives him a great look at birdie. Yeah, and here's that tree line I was talking about. Definitely, you know, forces you to hit a gap on your approach as opposed to having the more open look. No problem for Gossage, though. Getting it up there, and wow. What a fantastic approach from Gossage. He's having a really good start to this final round. Nice smooth upshot there from Gannon Buhr. Puts him near the circle's edge. Sure he would have hoped to be a bit closer, but definitely still a good position. Just a jump putt layup there for Mason Ford to walk away with par. And Gannon drops it in. Great putt. Gets him his first birdie of the round. Keeping a clean card up until this point, but now able to get a score. Keep him in that mix towards the top 5 as we get up to Austin Hannum, who's looking to do the same. And that's no problem for Austin. Well played hole there. Gets his first birdie of the round also. Gossage about to go 3 for 4. Keeping him up tied for second position. Didn't want to get that courtesy violation for going out of turn. This Mason Ford will come clean up, and Gossage will take the birdie as well. And now we get to hole 5, another big par 5, this time just over 1,000 feet. Also a lot more wide open. Really no worries. It really is just the OB near the putting green you have to consider. There is a hill that the pin lays on and a tree that guards the front of the green. And the OB comes in pretty close on the backside of that mound. So it does make that final approach shot something you really have to think about. But outside of that, again, kind of dealer's choice on how you want to attack it off the tee. Gossage going for the big roller here, and that has some legs to it. That thing is going so far. Oh my goodness, what a roller.
You have a sidearm to the pin.
I mean, that is just an absolute beauty. Look at the action he gets on this roller. Just stays up tall, pulls it over nicely. Again, he's only on his second year on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, really, but he's already making some waves. And I'm looking for the big forehand. And I get a little bit tangled up there. Might be a tricky angle, but still gets out there nicely. for the big panning backhand and does pretty well. Maybe a little bit lower out the hand that he would have wanted, but still makes some good progress. And that's a beautiful looking backhand from Mason Form. Just on a rope the whole way. Makes a lot of progress there. So I got to meet Mason Ford out in Tallahassee as well. Really cool dude. Glad to see him growing. So we are going to see Austin Hannum throwing a really nice second shot there. Should give him a nice look at the approach. So we get up now to Mason Ford. Man, that one seems like it came out really early. Not sure if it was footing or what happened there. Definitely not the shot he was looking for, but still could probably make something happen from over there. He doesn't seem like he's happy with that roller. Let's see how it fares. Yeah, kind of way out to the right-hand side of the fairway. But again, really no OB or anything like that to worry about, so kind of one of those like no harm, no foul situations. So we finally get up to Aaron Gossage, who again got so much off the tee. I mean, this man has done so much work. And that'll do for Mason Ford. Just what he was looking for. Here's Austin Hannum looking to approach for his birdie. Yeah, just a nice, smooth backhand. We'll skate him up there right near the bullseye. He's had some great upshots so far this round. Buhr will just kind of nestle one up there near the base. And this is Gossage for eagle. Trying to give it a chance, and just over the top. He will card the birdie, but man, he had to look at something special there. Because we did have two eagles on the day on this hole. It was Anthony Barella and Ricky Wysocki, who actually just had kind of tap-ins for eagle. So congrats to them, but looks like a lot of our card here looking to wrap up some nice birdies. This was playing as the easiest hole on the day, 0.44 strokes under par, with nearly half the field finding the birdie or better. It looks like it's going to be a full card of birdies here for our chase card. We start approaching the tail end of our back nine. We get the hole 6, one of the holes that we have seen in the past for the OTB Open, kind of an iconic hole. 364-foot par 3, water on the right-hand side poses the challenge, but there's also an OB left golf green. And the basket's pretty well guarded, and the wind really seems to impact players on this one in particular. See a lot of players try to swing that forehand out left to just avoid the OB water. And that looks really good from Gossage if it gets the right ground action. That'll do. You will occasionally see backhands kind of over the water, but there's that real big patch of tall grass that can often catch a disc if it doesn't have the right height. So the forehand really is the safer play for the right-handed player. That needs to get down in a hurry. I mean, that was so close to staying in bounds, but unfortunately that will roll across the OB line. Might still have a chance to save par there, though. Might still have a putt at it. And that's just played really, I guess, safe from Gannon Buhr. He was probably hoping to get a better angle and try to skip that back towards the pin. But at least able to lay up for par and avoid any bogey OB penalties. And Mason Ford is going for the backhand. Definitely his more comfortable style of throwing. Again, this is one you really have to just kind of line drive it towards the pin or just really try to avoid that tall grass outright. And yeah, that looks good. Well executed backhand from Mason Ford. Tough to do on this hole. Again, just some of the smoothest, most textbook backhand form in disc golf. Nice and compact X step. Great timing. Definitely one you could really learn from watching. Gannon Buhr will lay up for the par. Here's Mason Ford, or excuse me, this is Austin Hannum for the par save. Catches the top band. Almost had the save there, but we'll have to take the bogey. This is Mason Ford for birdie. Having to straddle out to get around this tree. But able to get it nonetheless. Well done there from Mason Ford. Catching a couple in a row here. Keep himself in the top 10. And I mean, Gossage about to go 4 for 4 here on the last 4 played. Already got the turkey on holes 3 through 5. Almost had the eagle on the previous hole. Puts that one right where it needs to be. Putting him now in solo second position. He's kind of fighting with Anthony Barella, who's near that place as well. And of course, Simon Lizotte still leading at this point. And we'll be back after a short break. And welcome back as we head over to hole 7, an 832-foot par 4 and a very tricky one. There's a lot of OB bunkers and hazard that you have to worry about throughout the course of this fairway. Really kind of want to get to the left-hand side of the fairway off the tee to set up the most clean approach to the pin. However, there is kind of a backdoor route on the right-hand side of the fairway if you wind up over there, so it's not the end of the world. Just need to make sure that you are in a clean open space. And that one's just a little high, gets caught up. Still gets down there a bit, and with his power, still might be able to make something happen. Yeah, good looking shot there from Mason Ford. Skipping over to that far left-hand side. Again, this is just about making as much forward progress as you can while challenging that low ceiling. And Gannon Buhr winds up over there near Mason. Not a bad place to be off the tee. Austin Hannum looking to join the group over there. Again, not a bad position to be. Definitely one of the more open looks you're going to have at the pin on the approach if you're over there. Gossage, unfortunately, got a little bit caught up off the tee, so he still has a lot of work to do. If that can catch edge, though, that could be fantastic. I mean, does what he can. It's always going to be tough considering where he was off the tee. Looks like Austin Hannum had some trouble with his footing there. Yeah, and that's going to cause the disc to kind of just nose up and sail out left. Avoids any hazard or OB, but going to have to settle for a par. Mason Ford puts that right through the gap. And right near the pin. Not sure how far of a putt that is from this angle, but gets up there a good way. Now there is kind of like a lot of like fox and kind of gopher holes kind of spread out on this course that did make footing a challenge at times from what I was hearing. That's going to be a lengthy putt as well there for Gannon Buhr, but gets up near the green. This is Hannum just trying to get up and down for par. And yeah, pretty much parks it. That'll be a stress-free par. Not what he wanted, but still keeps him right there where he needs to be. Gossage will put one up there in circle one, so he can make sure he gets his par as well. This is Mason Ford from circle two. Not really wanting to mess with that one. It is kind of a mound green that can cause some rollaways if you get your putter on edge, so don't blame him. As this did play as the fourth most difficult hole on the day, 0.32 strokes over par. Only 13% of the field finding the birdie. About half the field finding the par, and around 36% bogey or worse. So definitely proved to be a pretty big score separator. Gossage able to keep the card clean with the par there. Keeps him in second. Putt definitely looking a lot sharper today than round two. I know it was something that was kind of giving him some struggles, and he even talked about it in an interview, but getting under control here for this final round as we see the rest of our card kind of just cleaning things up. Mostly pars for everyone. In fact, I think everyone's going to find the four here. So we get to hole 8, kind of a tricky one. 767 feet, par 4. As you get off the tee, you kind of land in kind of a narrow strip. I mean, there's a lot of OB left and right once you get off the tee, and then you have a water carry to the pin for your final approach. So it's one of those ones where you really need to land dead center cut. Avoid that OB to set yourself up for an approach for birdie. Yeah, that's a great looking shot from Gossage, though. Making the catch cam turn around and stays in bounds overall towards that left-hand side OB. Should have a look at the pin from there. Can't be upset with that. Man, that gets over the right-hand side OB and lands pretty much center cut. Solid shot there from Mason Ford. And is that overturned? Yes, it's going to catch that OB. Didn't quite make it all the way over the right-hand side of the fairway.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, that's one he's going to be upset about. Really have to make sure you get the angle and height right on this one. At least give yourself a chance. That's a great move that Austin Hannum puts on this disc. Good angle. Can it get all the way over? Yes. And so as you can see, Gannon has to take this back, and so really still has a lot of work to do. He just kind of puts one up there on the front of the fairway and then concede. And that's kind of the typical gap you're going to see players take, but Ford's was a little wider than he wanted. Still gets some good ground action, though, and inside the circle. Just had enough stability to fight out of that. Here's what Hannum's left with. Looks like a tree might be kind of obstructing his angle a little bit, but for the most part, pretty good spot to be. Yeah, just throwing a flex forehand out there, no problem. Actually kind of caught something a little early there. It's knocked down a bit short, but still has a look at the pin. Yeah, and Gossage has a wide open lane here for his forehand out left. Just such a great tee shot. Kind of let that one get away from him, though. Gonna have a long putt from birdie over there. Gannon just kind of trying to stop the bleeding on this hole. Good approach shot, though. Limits the damage. Nice try there from Austin Hannum. Gave that a good run. And again, Gossage kind of let his forehand get away from him. Has a long bit here for birdie. Yeah, and just kind of didn't get that one wide enough. Swings across the face of the basket. This is what he's left with for par. A little bit of wind to think about here. He's going to find the dead center, keep himself in second position, keeping that card clean. Here's Mason Ford for his birdie look. That'll just find the right-hand side. You know, a little close. Not the comfortable birdie he wanted, but the scorecard won't care, as that will keep him in the mix. Tied for 7th. Gannon Buhr will card the bogey after the OB off the tee. At least limits the impact of that mishap. Hannum will connect on par as well, keeping him in the tie for 10th as we head to our final hole of the front 9. And this is one that has also remained the same and probably one of the signature holes of the course. Par 3, 435 foot with water danger all over the place, whether that's the challenge off the tee or the death putt you might be faced with. Usually you're going to see something overstable on a backhand, kind of forced over, and then fight back at the end. Unfortunately, Mason had a little bit too much angle on the disc and it does not fight back. And that's honestly a safe play, but, I mean, you are playing for par from over there, no doubt about it. And Gossage kind of just going straight at it. Needs to get brakes on it. Oh, so close. That is going to be OB. Luckily, he's close enough to the pin where he should be able to at least salvage a par. But, yeah, that looked like it was going to be special. And that two's not really fighting back as much as he probably wanted. But, again, it's safe. And it allows him to lay out for par. See what Gannon can do here. Doesn't quite get the ground action he was looking for, just outside the circle, but again, still a very scary putt. I mean, if you're not within 20 feet, it is such a tough one to run. Mason Ford will just lay up there for par. Austin Hannum likely looking to do the same here. At least a stress-free par for our card so far. Here's Gannon Buhr. Just outside the circle. Again, a scary one to run, though. Oh, no. And he still has a lot of work to do just to get par now. Hey, gets it done, though, nonetheless. That's one way to do it, I guess. And here's Gossage for the par save after going OB off the tee. Almost perfection to get the birdie. A little dicey, but he gets it done. Keeping the card clean here on the front nine. So you are going to see Hannum and Ford drop in their threes to finish off this front nine. As you can see, Gossage still in the podium position. And the rest of the card still, you know, top 10 or better heading into the back half of the course. Gossage able to get his disc back, so I'm sure he's happy about that. As we take a look at our results, and yeah, Aaron Gossage on a heater on the front nine. See if he can keep up the pace in the back half of the course and keep himself in contention. As again, the rest of the card still able to find themselves within the top 10 as we head over to our conclusion of the tournament. Take a look at the leaderboard. Simon Lizotte, 3-stroke lead right now, heading into the final holes on the course, with Calvin Heimberg and Aaron Gossage a few strokes behind. Again, thank you so much for tuning into this coverage, and a special shout out to all of our Patreon supporters who helped make this coverage possible. Definitely want to make sure you follow, subscribe if you're not already, so you can catch the rest of this tournament and future events that Gatekeeper Media will be a part of as they're covering the feature cards and chase cards for MPO all year long for Elite Series events on the Pro Tour. Again, I'm Dustin Mouret. If you want to give me a follow, it's Follow Dust on Instagram and Twitter, as well as Dustin Disc on YouTube. And I'll catch you on the back nine. See you then.